In a time when the earth thrummed with the pulse of gods and spirits, there lay the village of Nyazara. Nestled in a verdant valley where the golden savannah met the emerald forest, Nyazara was a place of vibrant life and ancient traditions. The villagers were renowned for their bravery and wisdom, a legacy passed down through generations of hunters, healers, and storytellers. Among them lived Abutu, a hunter whose legend spread far beyond the village boundaries. Abutu's prowess was unmatched, his aim was true, his heart unyielding. Yet what made him truly remarkable was the bond he shared with his dog Kolo. Kolo was no ordinary dog. His coat shimmered as if kissed by sunlight, and his eyes seemed to hold the wisdom of the ancients. Villagers often whispered that Kolo was a gift from the spirits, a guardian sent to watch over Abutu. The story begins on a day that seemed ordinary, yet was destined to change the fate of Nyazara forever. As the first rays of dawn touched the thatched roofs, Abutu and Kolo ventured into the forest. The air was alive with the symphony of chirping birds and rustling leaves. Abutu's spear glinted in the sunlight, and Kolo's keen eyes scanned the surroundings for movement. Unbeknownst to them, a shadow loomed over the land. Far to the east, in the forbidden mountains of Izomo, Alakan, the spirit of the underworld, stirred. Angered by the greed and disrespect of mortals, Alakan unleashed a curse upon the land. Rivers began to dry, crops withered, and the once abundant forest grew eerily silent. Fear gripped the hearts of Nyazara's people. That evening, as the villagers gathered around the central fire, the elders convened. Their faces were etched with worry, their voices heavy with the weight of the curse. "The spirits demand a sacrifice," intoned Elder Mbeki, his voice solemn. "A brave soul must journey to the shrine of Alakan in the Forbidden Mountains and offer their life to lift the curse." A hush fell over the crowd. The Forbidden Mountains were shrouded in legend, a place where mortals dared not tread. Just as despair threatened to take root, Abutu stepped forward. "I will go," he declared, his voice steady. "The spirits demand bravery, and I will not let fear consume us." Gasps rippled through the crowd, but none were as vocal as Kolo. The loyal dog barked and whined, circling Abutu as if to dissuade him. Abutu knelt beside his companion, placing a firm hand on his golden fur. "You must stay, old friend. The village needs your strength." But Kolo's eyes burned with determination. "You would not be left behind." The sun had barely risen when Abutu and Kolo set out on their journey. The villagers lined the path, their faces a mix of sorrow and hope. Women sang songs of courage, and children clutched talismans of protection. Elder Mbeki handed Abutu a pouch filled with sacred herbs and a blessing whispered in the ancient tongue. The journey to the Forbidden Mountains was fraught with peril. The duo first crossed the sun-scorched savannah, where the ground cracked underfoot and vultures circled ominously overhead. Kolo's sharp instincts saved them from stepping into a hidden pit where venomous serpents coiled, waiting for prey. As the savannah gave way to dense forest, the air grew cooler but more oppressive. Shadows seemed to stretch and shift unnaturally, whispering secrets in an ancient language. Abutu tightened his grip on his spear, his senses heightened. Kolo's ears twitched, and his growl warned of unseen dangers. Their first true challenge came in the form of a band of forest spirits. These mischievous entities, known as the Nkosi, delighted in leading travelers astray. They appeared as glowing orbs, darting through the trees, their laughter echoing like the rustle of leaves. "Turn back, mortal," they teased. "The path ahead holds only death." Abutu stood firm. "I seek Alakan to save my people. Stand aside, or I will not hesitate to defend myself." The spirits' laughter turned to a menacing hum, and they began to close in. But Kolo, ever resourceful, barked sharply and lunged at the nearest orb. His golden coat glowed brighter, and the spirits recoiled as if burned. Their laughter turned to wails and they vanished into the shadows. Abutu knelt beside Kolo, his gratitude evident. "You truly are a gift from the spirits," he murmured. Together they pressed on. The forest thinned, giving way to a great river that cut through the land like a shimmering snake. But this was no ordinary river. Its waters glowed faintly under the moonlight, and the current seemed to whisper as it flowed. This was the River of Echoes, a sacred waterway said to carry the voices of the departed. As they approached the riverbank, a figure emerged from the mist. It was an old woman, her skin like weathered bark and her eyes as sharp as an eagle's. She leaned on a staff adorned with feathers and bones. "To cross the River of Echoes," she croaked, "you must answer the voices that call to you." Abutu's brow furrowed. "What do you mean, elder?" "The river knows your heart," she replied. "Step into its waters and it will test your resolve. Fail, and you will be lost among the echoes forever." Without hesitation Abutu stepped forward. The water was cold as ice, sending a shiver through his body. As he waded deeper, voices rose around him, calling his name. They were familiar voices: his father who had fallen to a lion's claws, his sister who had succumbed to fever, even the laughter of friends long gone. Abutu, they called. Stay with us. The journey ahead is too dangerous. Abutu's heart ached, but he pressed on, his focus unwavering. I cannot stay, he said firmly. My people need me. The voices grew louder, more desperate, but Abutu's resolve did not waver. At last, the river's glow dimmed, and he found himself on the opposite bank. He turned to see Kolo, who had followed without hesitation, his golden coat untouched by the waters. Together, they looked back at the old woman, who nodded approvingly. You have passed the trial, she said. May the spirits guide your path. The duo continued their journey, the river of echoes fading into the distance. But the trials were far from over. The path ahead grew darker as the forest thickened once more. Strange shadows danced among the trees, their forms shifting and twisting as though alive. The air was heavy with an unnatural chill, and even the vibrant sounds of the forest seemed muted. As Abutu and Kolo ventured deeper, whispers began to surround them. Low and eerie, they carried no discernible words but filled the air with a sense of dread. Kolo's ears perked up and his fur bristled. He growled softly, staying close to Abutu's side. Stay alert, my friend, Abutu murmured, clutching his spear tightly. Suddenly, a shadow materialized before them, forming into a tall, ghostly figure with glowing eyes. It spoke in a voice that resonated like the rumble of distant thunder. Who dares trespass in the realm of the whispering shadows? I am Abutu of Nyazara, Abutu replied boldly. I seek Alakan to save my people from a curse. The shadow laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Abutu's spine. To pass through this realm you must prove your worth. Face your greatest fear, and only then shall you proceed. Before Abutu could respond, the shadow dissolved into the air. The forest around them began to shift, and the ground beneath their feet trembled. Out of the darkness emerged a massive lion, its eyes glowing with a fiery intensity. It was a manifestation of the beast that had taken Abutu's father. Abutu froze, memories of that fateful day flooding his mind. The lion roared, its sound echoing through the forest. Kolo barked furiously, standing protectively in front of Abutu. No, Abutu said, his voice trembling. This is not real. I am not the frightened boy I once was. Summoning his courage, Abutu raised his spear and stepped forward. The lion charged, but Abutu stood his ground. With a swift and precise movement, he struck the beast, which dissolved into a wisp of shadow. The forest grew silent once more and the oppressive chill lifted. A path illuminated by soft, ethereal light appeared before them. You have conquered your fear, a voice whispered. The way forward is open. Abutu knelt to embrace Kolo, who licked his face reassuringly. Together they continued down the path, their resolve stronger than ever. The path led to a clearing bathed in golden light. Flowers of every color imaginable bloomed in abundance, their petals shimmering as if dusted with starlight. In the center of the clearing stood a towering baobab tree, its trunk etched with glowing runes. As Abutu and Kolo approached, the runes began to pulse with a rhythmic light. A figure emerged from the tree, a woman with skin the color of mahogany and hair adorned with blossoms. She was the guardian of the clearing, known as Nala, the keeper of secrets. Traveler, Nala said, her voice melodic. You have come far, but the journey ahead grows more perilous. To proceed, you must solve the riddle of the baobab. What is the riddle? Abutu asked. Nala smiled and recited. I am the keeper of time, yet I am not alive. I bear the weight of memories but I do not think. What am I? Abutu frowned, deep in thought. He paced around the clearing, his mind racing. Kolo watched him intently as if willing him to find the answer. At last Abutu stopped and turned to Nala. The answer is a tree, he said. It records time in its rings and holds memories of the past in its wood. Nala's smile widened. You are wise, Abutu. The spirits favor you. She stepped aside and the baobab's trunk split open to reveal a glowing portal. Step through and may the spirits guide your steps. Abutu and Kolo entered the portal, their hearts brimming with anticipation for what lay ahead. Abutu and Kolo emerged from the glowing portal into a vast expanse of shimmering dunes and rolling winds. The sky above was an endless canvas of swirling blue and silver, and the air hummed with energy. This was the realm of the wind spirits, a place of ethereal beauty and unpredictable power. The winds whispered around them, carrying faint melodies and fragments of ancient songs. As they moved forward, the sands shifted beneath their feet, creating patterns that seemed to tell stories of ages past. Abutu could feel the spirits watching, their presence both awe-inspiring and intimidating. Suddenly, a fierce gust of wind swirled before them, forming into the shape of a towering figure with translucent wings and eyes like glowing orbs. The spirit spoke, its voice resonating like the howl of a storm. "Mortal, you have entered our domain. To proceed, you must prove your harmony with the winds. What must I do?" Abutu asked, his tone respectful. The spirit extended a hand and a small whirlwind appeared, carrying a delicate feather that glowed with an inner light. "Carry this feather across the sands without letting it fall. The winds will test your resolve." Abutu nodded and took the feather, its weight surprisingly heavy for something so delicate. As he began to walk, the winds grew stronger, swirling around him in chaotic bursts. Each step became a battle against the gale, and Abutu had to shield the feather with his hands. Kolo trotted beside him, his keen instincts guiding them away from the fiercest gusts. At one point, a particularly strong wind knocked Abutu to his knees. The feather wavered, but Kolo barked sharply, urging him to rise. Drawing strength from his loyal companion, Abutu stood and pressed on. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached a stone pedestal in the center of the dunes. Abutu placed the feather on the pedestal, and the winds instantly calmed. The towering spirit reappeared, a look of approval on its face. "You have shown resilience and respect for the winds," it said. "The path ahead is yours." The sands parted, revealing a hidden trail that glowed faintly under the starlit sky. Abutu and Kolo exchanged a glance of determination before stepping onto the path, ready for whatever lay ahead. The hidden trail led Abutu and Kolo to the foot of the Forbidden Mountains, their jagged peaks piercing the heavens. The air was dense with an otherworldly stillness, and the land seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. Each step felt heavier than the last as they climbed higher, the temperature dropping, the air thinning. Yet, Abutu's resolve burned bright, his every thought consumed by the plight of his village. As they ascended, the landscape transformed. The barren rocks gave way to a plateau bathed in an eerie blue glow. In its center stood the shrine of Alakan, a structure of impossible beauty and menace. Its walls seemed to be made of liquid obsidian, rippling like water under moonlight, and its entrance was adorned with carvings of ancient symbols, alive with pulsing energy. Kolo barked softly, a warning and reassurance all at once. Abutu placed a steady hand on his companion's head. "We're here, my friend," he murmured. Together they approached the shrine. Inside, the air was thick with the weight of power. At the far end of the chamber stood Alakan, a figure both magnificent and terrifying. His form was fluid, shifting between a towering humanoid and a monstrous aquatic beast. His eyes glowed with the cold light of the abyss, and his voice, when he spoke, resonated with the depths of the earth and sea. "You dare to enter my domain, mortal?" Alakan intoned. "Have you come to grovel and beg for mercy as all your kind do?" Abutu stepped forward, his voice unwavering. "I am Abutu of Nyazara. I do not beg. I offer myself to end the curse you have placed upon my people." Alakan's laughter echoed like crashing waves. "You offer yourself? A single life for the countless wrongs of humanity? Why should I accept such a paltry sacrifice?" Abutu held his ground. "Because my life is not just mine. It carries the strength of my ancestors, the hopes of my people, and the loyalty of my companion. If you take me, you take the essence of all who have come before and all who will come after." For a moment, the shrine was silent. Then Alakan's eyes narrowed and he leaned closer. "Your words are bold, hunter. But words alone cannot sway me. You must prove your worth." With a sweep of his hand, Alakan conjured 3 trials: a blazing inferno, a churning whirlpool, and a void of utter darkness. "Pass through these and I shall decide your fate." Abutu nodded and stepped into the inferno. Flames roared around him, their heat searing his skin. But he did not falter. He thought of his village, of the children who laughed under the sun, of the elders who shared their wisdom by the firelight. With each step, his determination extinguished the flames until he emerged unscathed. Next came the whirlpool, a spiraling vortex of water that threatened to drag him into its depths. As the currents pulled at him, Abutu felt despair clawing at his heart. But Kolo leaped into the water beside him, his golden coat shimmering like a beacon. Together they fought the tide, their bond unbroken, until the waters calmed and released them. Finally, the void. It was a place of utter silence and emptiness, where even his thoughts seemed to echo. Doubt crept into Abutu's mind, whispering that his sacrifice would be in vain. But then he felt the warmth of Kolo's presence, a reminder that he was never truly alone. With renewed strength he walked through the darkness, guided by the light of his unwavering faith. When he emerged from the final trial, Abutu awaited him, his expression unreadable. "You have faced fear, despair and doubt," the spirit said. "You have proven yourself worthy." With a wave of his hand, Abutu lifted the curse. The land outside the shrine trembled as rivers began to flow once more, and the withered forests regained their verdant splendor. "Your sacrifice is no longer required, Abutu of Nyazara," Abutu declared. "Return to your people and remind them to honor the balance of life and spirit." Abutu bowed deeply, gratitude etched into his every feature. As he turned to leave, Kolo trotted beside him, his golden fur gleaming brighter than ever. Together they descended the mountain, the first rays of dawn lighting their path. When they returned to Nyazara, the villagers greeted them with tears of joy and songs of celebration. Abutu's name became legend, a tale of courage and sacrifice told for generations. And by his side always was Kolo, the faithful guardian whose spirit shone as brightly as the sun. In the village of Nyazara, life flourished once more, and the bond between man and spirit was renewed, a testament to the power of bravery, loyalty and love.